Hi, welcome back to Walk, Run, Soar. Today is day 5. Day 5, we're doing devotion number 6 in the book. And yes, this is, you can't really tell, but this is Encanto in the background. It's one of my favorites to put on when it's a rainy day. And the dogs and I have little musical games we play when they sing songs. But anyway, little housekeeping. We have a little bit of family things happening with extended family. So if for some reason these dramatically stop for a day or two, that's why. I'm gonna try to keep up with it because it's good quiet time for me. But if for some reason it stops for a day or two, I'm sorry, and that's why. And I'll get caught up, I promise. Okay, so today is called Cloud of Witnesses. This is a good verse. I like it a lot. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. That second part of that verse, I think every believer that's a runner has that one somewhere in their running stuff. Let us run with perseverance the race marked for us. Okay, so our author, she shares how she was running with her husband Sean. They were running the 40th Chicago Marathon, and she had chosen this race this specific time because it was also her 40th birthday. So she thought it would be fun to train for the 40th Chicago Marathon. And she shares how, she says, running the Chicago Marathon in my home city seemed like the perfect goal to work toward with Sean as my new running partner and coach. Training for the marathon was a gift mixed with grief. My first husband, Eric Lee, soared to heaven on his 40th year of life. So you can imagine just, all of that, thinking of all those, emotions, getting ready to train for this race. And she mentions that as she started the Chicago Marathon, she does what I always try to do, and how I'm definitely I talked about this during the mantra devotional, where a lot of times I say, run the mile you're in. And she shares that is the mindset that she tries to keep is just to tackle 1 mile at a time instead of thinking about the 26 she has to run, because that can just be overwhelming, I'm assuming. I will let you know once I start marathon training. And she talks about how, I guess at her race there was 44,000 runners that, in the beginning, until people really start to space out, you do that bobbing and weaving, and you can't really keep a consistent pace. But her hubby / coach stayed with her stride for stride. And so she just tried to focus on her breathing until they were able to find their window. She talks about at mile 3, we passed our great cloud of witnesses, which included her parents, daughters, sister and brother's families, and some friends. And we all know that during races, I experienced that to a whole new level, last weekend with all the people that come out to cheer for you at these Run Disney races, and all the signs and funny one-liners they'll shout at you just to give you a little bit of boost. It can mean so much when you're doing these hard races. And so she talks about how that really helped get through that stretch of the race. She talks about how when she was running, she could just hear in the back of her mind her first husband cheering from heaven, pumping his fist. And how she also thought of others that she knew that had already gone on to heaven that were cheering for her in this race too, a goal that she had set for herself that she was accomplishing, and just, cheering her on from up there. She shares 80% of running a marathon, or people say that 80% of running a marathon is the mental game. And she said she started to struggle about mile 15. The temperature was rising, and she's like, I know I gotta do something or else I'm not gonna be able to finish. And she whispered the words, let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. She shares how perseverance means to persist in spite of difficulty, obstacles, or discouragement. She talks about, thinking about that, she had found ways in her journey to navigate her grief, tackle impossible assignments, and face tough conversations. By leaning in, take the next step and then the next. And it's like that, run 1 mile at a time. Just if you think too much into the future, it can be so overwhelming. And I'm terrible about that. I'm a terrible what if person. And sometimes the what ifs I come up with are really, really crazy. And so, that is probably, at least in my opinion, the best way to stay out of that is just be present in the moment. And as I've referenced before, as Anna would say, do the next right thing. What is, in this moment, my next step? Okay, and then what is my next step after that? And after that. And, eventually you find a rhythm that, to go through life. If you think too far forward, it's going to be too much. And she goes on to, as far as her marathon story, that when she got to mile 22, there was another just random woman that was, she was just apparently cheering her head off, was really cheering for everybody with such a passion, and it gave her that extra boost to get that last 4.2 miles in. And she said it wasn't easy, she was chafing, she was drinking water but still felt thirsty. Marathons, I don't know if there's anybody that probably say, man, that was a really great marathon. I just felt awesome the entire time. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that, so yes. And she was tempted to stop, but she pushed through, and her husband, Sean, decided to run in front of her just a little bit to give her something to chase, something to look at, to, follow, which helped a lot. And along that line, she, talks about fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. And in life, that's what you got to do, is you got Jesus in front of you, you fix your eyes on him, and you just try to follow where he's leading, because he knows what he's doing. We don't always know what we're doing, but he does. And she, of course, finished her 40th Chicago Marathon, and she says, all for his glory. Her faith step is to think about the people that are cheering you on in the race of life, and how they encourage you. And to take a moment and just thank God for those people. Because I don't know what I would do about my friends that cheer me on when life gets tough. We're made for, we're made to be relational. I know at our church we just finished a sermon series about, it was about marriage, but there's a reason why that parallels to God's relationship with us. We were created to be in relationship with God, be in relationship with those around us. That's just how we're meant to be. Yes, some people are more introverted, but even those introverted people have one or two in their lives that, it's they're relational people, Our inspirational quote is from professional running coach Steve Magnus. Separate your identity from what you do. Understand that running is something that you are really good at. It's a passion. Embrace how much you care about the sport, but always remember that it isn't who you are. I think that's important, because when you have something like running or anything that you're super passionate about, a lot of times it's not going to last forever. I'm not going to be able to run forever. My kids are not going to be able to run forever. So you have to remember that you are so much more than just these little talents that God maybe gave us. We are his children, and that is our main identity. And we can do so much with that and sharing God's love with other people. So that's what I take from that. And our training note is super fun. I try to do something like this on little milestones in the year. But he talks about, on your birthday, try running a birthday set. Incorporate your age into a workout that will stretch your limits. But be sure you train properly for it. Example, run as many miles or kilometers as your age. Like, I'm getting ready to turn 35. So 35 miles might be a little much. So I might do 3.5 miles or 35 kilometers. That still sounds like a lot. Yeah, maybe not 35 kilometers, but maybe 3.5 miles. That type of deal. I do that all the time. Run as many 200-meter intervals as your age. Maybe I'll do that too. Or possibly as many minutes as your age. Maybe 35 minutes. I do know numbers. It's a fun way to celebrate your birthday. So just little things like that are super fun. So this one makes me, just like there was one a couple devotions back, just how much I am thankful for my run group, those in my little running circle, my main run buddy who trains and has already said she'd help me train for my marathon. I'm so thankful for those people, because I wouldn't have been able to accomplish as many goals as I have without them, and they are such a blessing. So if you have people like that in your life, be sure to tell them. It's encouraging to other people to hear that type of thing. So hope everyone's having a great Monday, and I will see you tomorrow.